Hello and welcome to a video at midnight. Woo! It's 23:49 currently. And today, what I thought I would do, today, for the remainder of today and for the first half an hour of tomorrow probably, what I thought I would do is do a tier list because I like tier lists and I don't get to do them very often. So the tier list we're going to be doing is the Elden Ring bosses tier list. This is not my tier list. This is a tier list that I found on Tier Maker. I will link it in the description because I thought that this one was a very good boss tier list because, according to my analysis of it, it has every boss, including all the little enemy duplicate boss type ones. So yeah, a lot of them missed out 4 or 5 bosses, ones that I guess you could easily miss. But this one has pretty much every one. The only thing I don't like is that it has Radagon and Elden Beast as one boss when they're more separate than a lot of the other ones. Like I get that they put where is he? Horulu and Godfrey as the same fight because they're the same being. But Radagon and Elden Beast feel very different, and so I'll give my opinion of Radagon and Elden Beast when I get to it. And I will give an opinion separately as well. So, let's get into it. We're starting off with the Tibia Mariner, which is a duplicate boss. Like, he appears quite a few times, but I will be honest, the first time I ever saw the Tibia Mariner in that little village in Limgrave, I thought, this is such a cool boss. I thought, I don't know. There was just something about the fact that he was on water. That was so cool to me. And even though he's a duplicate boss, and he's really easy, he's really straightforward, he doesn't have that many attacks, he looks so cool that I'm going to put him in B. Yeah, B. Okay. Clean Rot Knight. This one is just an enemy. This one is just an enemy. Not even a late game enemy either. It's just a very strange boss to have. For that reason, I'm gonna give it a D. I think. Yeah, I'll give it a D. Because I do like the Clean Rot Knights. I like their aesthetic a lot, and I really like their armor. Now, Crystallion. Crystallion isn't that bad because, they're not really an early game open world enemy, even though they eventually become it, especially in the sort of Halig Tree area. But yeah, I don't mind the Crystallions that much because they're interesting and they have enough variety between the weapons that they have to keep me intrigued. And so I will put it at a D as well. Okay. Now, Esga, Priest of Blood. Esga, Priest of Blood is weird because he's interesting in the fact that he is just an NPC, but he comes with those goddamn dogs, the bleed dogs. I hate the bleed dogs so much. I hate the dogs in general in all of these games, as I'm sure everyone does. But the bigger issue I have with him is that he is basically just the first invader, Neregus in Limgrave. He uses the same weapons, and he has a spell, and that is, I think, the only thing that's different from him. He looks cool. I'll give him that. But again, he's a D. This is not a strong start for the Elden Ring bosses, but I gotta be critical. Omen Killer. Omen Killer is really cool. I like Omen Killer, although he does have some annoying attacks. Just because of how he attacks, his delays are quite weird. Omen Killer's quite cool. I really like their mask. I love their weapons. He was he really surprised me the first time I ever fought him in the Albinauric village. And I really like that they have the fire attack. And obviously there's the Capra Demon comparison with the one in the village. So yeah, I will give him a C. Even though they do become more like regular enemies at a certain point. Okay, the balls. Balls Carrion Knight. An Everjail boss, that's right. Balls. What do I think about he's fine. He was annoying the first time I fought him. I remember kind of struggling with him. I think it took me 4 or 5 tries. That's because I hadn't really fought any of the other trolls other than the Stone Digger ones up until that point. So he's alright. And there's not many of them like out in the world, or I think there's one in Carrier Manor, and then one as a phantom, and those are the only 2 I can think of. He's fine. He's pretty fine. He's got some interesting magic, but I would give him a D. He could be cool. He could be cool. The Demi-Human Queens. So we've got Gillica, Margot, and Maggie. I quite like the Demi-Human Queens because I think they're all bosses, other than there's one that's quite weak in a ruins in the Weeping Peninsula, and I think they're quite cool. Although they do so much damage, which is quite surprising, especially Gillica, the one in Altus. Yeah, they do so much damage. But I think they're quite cool, and I would give them a C. Miranda the Blighted Bloom. I don't think there's much conversation to be had here. This is just an F. This is a terrible boss. There's no way that this should be a boss when it is no different to the regular poison flowers that you find just in the open world in so many areas of the game. You've already fought these in the open world by the time you get to this boss, or you've just ran past them. And you fight the first one in such a small room, and it's clear that the intent is just, you're going to get poisoned in here. I will give the fact that I'm obviously not rating them based on the dungeons or the catacombs that they're in, but the dungeon for Miranda is quite cool. I'll give it that. Other than that, there's literally nothing I can say for Miranda. It's a pointless boss. The Erdtree avatars. Right. Okay. So I can't remember. Okay, yes. The putrid ones are different than the Erdtree ones in this. I really like the Erdtree avatars. I'm aware that they are pretty much a reskinned version of the Stray Demon from Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3. But I think they are really cool. And there's just something really satisfying about fighting them. And I don't know, they've got quite cool lore, I guess. There's not a hell of a lot about them, but it's more... is it more lore than these ones? It's about the same. The Erdtree avatars are cool. I like the rewards they drop as well. That's quite good. I've not thought about that for these ones, but yeah. I mean, they don't have great rewards. Tibia Mariner's Death Route, which is kind of good. If you're interested in completing Garank's quest, I guess. But Erdtree avatars, they're a really fun fight. I would give them an A. I like the Erdtree avatars. Okay. The Putrid Crystallian Trio. What positives can I say about this? It got somewhat easier after the patch that reduced thingy group enemy aggro. It got somewhat easier. It was awful the first time I fought it. I remember that. Now, this might be a bold statement, but I think I beat it the first time I fought it, and I was so happy. Or maybe the second time, and I was so happy. And yeah, I do not like this boss. Is it the only trio boss in the entire? No, because there's Fierce Champions. I don't know. Just the addition of that Scarlet Rot is so awful, and they don't drop like anything good. They drop a spell, I think, and it's not a useful spell or anything. So for that reason, E. I like the idea of the Crystallians in general, so they're more than Miranda, but E regardless. Cemetery Shade, okay, kind of interesting. I do like the idea of the Cemetery Shades because they're really weak enemies. They're kind of creepy looking. You don't. I think there's only one that you find outside of a boss room, and it drops the Mantis Blade, and I like the Mantis Blade's look. I've never used it, but I like the look of it. But there's not really anything else going on with the Cemetery Shade, so I give it a D. Like, there's some cool information about the thing that's on its head. I don't really know what it is, but I remember there's a Zully the Witch video about what's on its head, which is quite cool. Okay. Deathbird. Deathbird. What do I think about Deathbird? They're kind of fun. I've gotten a lot better at fighting them. They're really, really easy if you have holy damage. Yeah. I still suck at dodging the scream and like lunge forward grab attack. That's really difficult for me to avoid still for some reason. Other than that, I think they're cool aesthetically. And they've got some cool lore in the fact that they're linked to an outer god, and obviously like the ghost flame. That's it, not the death flame. For that, I think I'm gonna give them a C. Yeah, and I like that they're a night enemy. I like most of the nighttime bosses. Yeah, I think a C is appropriate. Tree Sentinel Duo. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this fight, mainly because I couldn't figure out how to cheese it when I first encountered it. It's in a cool place in the world, like it makes sense that they're there. I just wish there were more Tree Sentinels, really. I think it would be cool, like, as you progress through Lanedell, there are more of them. Because as far as I'm aware, there's only 3 if you discount the Draconic Tree Sentinel one. Or just like in Altus, there should be more of them. Yeah. The duo boss is fine. Like, it's not a bad duo boss. It's kind of annoying a bit because they're both really fast. So you don't really get that long with one before you have to fight the next. And if they gang up on you, it's really difficult. But you can cheese them. There is a way to cheese them. I give this duo boss fight a D. It's fine because the Tree Sentinel fight itself is quite fun. I'm just not a huge fan of duo fights in general, I guess. Onyx Lord. Onyx Lord is kind of fun, kind of not. Because, again, it is just a very bog standard enemy. You fight one in Limgrave. And other than the meteorite attack, I think it has all the attacks that this boss has. But it does give you a cool drop. And I do like some of the lore about the Onyx Lords. So I will give it a D as well. Crucible Knight Duo. We've not actually got to the Crucible Knight yet. But, you know, the Crucible Knight Duo is the one with Ordovis and the one with it's got the tree weapon. I really like Ordovis himself. I think Ordovis is really cool. The fact that he actually uses that, like, spinning sword weapon art, that's really cool. And they obviously made it somewhat easier with the group enemy aggro update. I I didn't find it that difficult, but that was probably because I was using magic on my first run. Because I've done it with strength builds since then and struggled a lot more. But I still like the fight and I love the Crucible Knights in general. So I'm gonna give it a C because I do really like the Crucible Knights. It's just a lot harder because duo, and I'm not keen on duo fights. Now, Draconic Tree Sentinel. That is a good boss. I love a Draconic Tree Sentinel. I like the fact that you can cheese it if you want to. That's quite fun. Well, not fun, but it's funny. But I think I prefer the Draconic Tree Sentinel to the Tree Sentinel themselves. I think the Draconic Tree Sentinel has cooler attacks, especially with all the red lightning and such. It looks cool. The shield gets to attack. That's cool. Yeah, I really like the Draconic Tree Sentinel. I wish there was more of them. I think the fact that there was only 2 and only one of them is a boss is kind of upsetting, but, you know, still a good boss, and I would give it an A because I really like fighting them. Kindred of Rot Duo. No, that's an F tier boss. That's awful. Why is this a boss? This is not a boss. I've killed dozens of fucking Kindred of Rot Duo by the time I get to Mount Gelmir. God. And they're just annoying as well. Like, they're not fun to fight, really. Especially if you just get comboed by them. And they're so weak as well, and they don't drop anything good. They drop the, like, Scarlet Rot boost talisman, or whatever it's called. That's crap. But, you know, you gotta take it, I guess, because it's in the game. You don't have to do the cave. At least it's an optional boss. At least it doesn't ruin everything. Is it worse than Miranda? That's a good question. Is it worse than Miranda? Yeah. Yeah, it is. No, it's... Yeah, it is, because it's a duo fight, actually. I've changed my mind. Okay. Stray Mimic tier. I have an issue with the Stray Mimic tier. What is stray about it? I get that it's in, like, the way to the Consecrated Snowfields, but other than that, it's no different to the regular Mimic tier, is it? I don't remember it being any different. I like the Mimic tier boss fight in general, but for the fact that it is no different, but it's still called something different, I give it a C. Electo, the Black Knife Ringleader. This is the one on the Moonlight plateau? Moonlight Altar. In the Everjail. I remember this one not being too bad. I like the fact that it does have a few different attacks compared to the regular Black Knives. I like fighting the Black Knives, to be perfectly honest, but it is a really tough fight. Like, it has a surprising amount of HP, and it hits very hard. So I actually prefer it to the Black Knife regular assassins, and I would give Electo a B. Now, Decaying X-Ix. Oh, they've spelled it Ekizkies. Ekizgus. Decaying Ekizgusk. Decaying X-Ix. He is an interesting fight. He looks very different, especially from the other dragons. Like, visually, he's very different. A lot of his attacks are the same, other than the addition of, like, Scarlet Rot clouds when he stomps or when he sprays the breath and stuff instead of fire. And then he has the really annoying move where he just, like, sprays downwards and like, just infects the entire area, so you can't do anything with him for a good, like, 20 seconds. That's kind of an annoying attack. But other than that, I actually kind of like him. I like his location because he's just sort of I can't remember if he's blocking the road or if he's just sort of off to the side and notices you when you're on the road. But yeah, I do quite like him, to be honest. He's an interesting dragon, and I give him a B. He has one annoying attack, but other than that, he's kind of just a dragon, and I like fighting the dragons, to be perfectly honest. Okay, Bell-bearing Hunter. This is like the one nighttime enemy boss that I'm not that asked about, to be perfectly honest. Like, yeah, he's cool, but a lot of them are annoying. Especially the one in Caelid. That one hurts so much. That one does so much damage. And they're really annoying to spawn in. Like, a lot of the time, especially the one near Banal, he is such a pain to spawn in. And I don't really find them that fun of a fight, especially with how far-reaching they are. Like, it's so hard to heal when you're in those fights. And sticking close is not always a great strategy either, just because of, like, even if you go slightly far away, he'll start doing all the mind control stuff. But I guess if you've got magic, it's not too bad a fight. And they're interesting in terms of, like, what they are. So I give them a C. Okay. For Flying Dragon, I'm assuming what they mean, because it says ×2 in the top here. I'm assuming what they mean is Agheel and Grail. The one in Limgrave and the one in Caelid. Because I don't think they're different at all. I think they're the exact same dragon. Now, here's what I will say. I like fighting the dragons. I think they're a really fun fight just because they're quite simple once you get the hang of it. I like that they learned stuff from Midir when they made Midir's fight. I like that some of his moves, like the flying diagonal breath attack, I like that they come back into play in the dragon fights in this, because, I don't know, it just looks cool. Like, they tried to do flying moves in Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2 for dragons, but it doesn't feel like a dragon attack. I don't know. But I enjoy fighting the dragons, both of them, even though Grail is on a bridge and it kind of makes it a bit more of a difficult fight and a bit more annoying. I am fine with them. I give them a C. I enjoy fighting them. Magma worms. Okay. These are a mixed bag for me because I like the concept of them. I'm assuming Magma worm doesn't include Makar. I think Makar is elsewhere on here. I might be blind. I might be blind. I'm sure he's on here. Huh. I swear to God I saw him. Theodorix is on here, so why would he not be on here? Ah, yeah, Makar. Okay, fine. Okay, so just the magma worms themselves, so they don't do the stand-up bit. Yeah, I think they're really cool aesthetically. And the one that's not in the tiny room in Caelid is quite a fun fight. But the one that's in the tiny room in Caelid is really annoying. I like them aesthetically. I think that they're a cool idea of a boss when they're not in a tiny room. When they are in a tiny room, they're kind of annoying. And they're not as cool as the ones that stand up, but I give them a C. Sanguine Noble. This is kind of a good boss. Just again, it is just becomes its own enemy once you get into Moog's area. But that is for quite a while. You don't see another one for a good long while. And the weapon they have is really cool, and the way they fight is quite cool in my opinion. And the fact that you can get the weapon if you beat this one is very cool. So, and also they look great. Like physically, their Fashion Souls is, it works for me, and I'm gonna give them a C. Okay, Royal Knight Loretta, the Phantom version of Loretta in Caria Manor. Now, I think this is a cool fight. Yes, it is sort of a reskinned Tree Sentinel, but so are most of the horse fights. Like, there's not much distinguishing features between one thing on a horse and another thing on a horse and another thing on a horse. But Royal Knight Loretta is probably the most distinguished from the Tree Sentinel fights because of the magic she uses, and also her weapon is really cool. Loretta's War Sickle really is a cool weapon in my opinion. Her armor is really interesting looking with this weird half moon crescent on the top of it. Yeah, I think she's quite a fun fight. I like the fact that she like gets summoned in from this ring of chairs. Yeah, Royal Knight Loretta is a really cool fight in my opinion, and she gets a B because I do still prefer the physical version of the fight, the one in the Halig tree. That one's really cool, and I would say is cooler than this one. We've not had any S tiers yet, but that might all change with Necromancer Garrus. Whoa, what a guy! No, I do. I'm playing a randomizer at the minute, and Necromancer Garrus gave me such trouble because he spawns with those stupid skeleton snail roly things. I hate them so much. He's cool in the fact that he's just a guy and he just has this flail that he bonks people with. I like him in that regard. I respect him in that regard. But he's so annoying, and the fact that you only get his flail and not even a good spell or like a summon for those snail skeleton things, I don't like him that much. I give him a D. Okay. Sorry, I got very heated at the Necromancer Garrus. Okay. Abductor Virgins. This is not a fun fight. I don't enjoy fighting Abductor Virgins generally, and when there is two of them in a relatively small room and they have such large reach, that's not fun. And what do you get? You get the Girandol or the Girandol. I don't know how you say it. Yeah, it's not really worth it. Really? No, I'm not keen. And the fact that this is the boss that you have to go through in order to get to Altar's Plateau, if you don't take the lift or the magma worm path, the fact that you have to fight this boss, they could have made it something cooler. They could have made it something way better. Anyway, yeah, E tier for me. Black Knife Assassin. As I said, I do prefer Electo, and so they will be going in C. But I still do enjoy the Black Knife Assassin fights. I'm surprised they weren't restricted to a nighttime only enemy, because they give me Knights Cavalry vibes. But yeah, I do enjoy the Black Knife Assassin fights, and I like them aesthetically, and I do really like their armor. Their armor is really cool to wear. Okay. Next one is Round Table Knight Vike. I love Vike as a character. I think he's such an interesting case. And I'm going to do something probably quite controversial, and I'm going to put him in A. He's not quite S tier, but he's really, really cool in my opinion. In both forms, in both his like madness spell form and his Dragon Ball lightning form that is the boss fight. I think they're both really cool. I think I do prefer the madness one. If the madness one was a boss, he would probably still be an A, but he would be top of A. I do really like Vike. His lore is so cool. I love his figure, as you obviously saw. Yeah, I am a big Vike simp. Good fight. Good NPC fight, especially. Now, Dragonkin Soldier. Is the other version of the Dragonkin Soldier on here? Because it does say ×2. So... Dragonkin. Ah, yes, Dragonkin. Okay. The base version of the Dragonkin Soldier is fine. The only thing that is annoying is the one that you have to fight in the Scarlet Rot Swamp because you get given such limited space to move. Other than that, really cool aesthetically. Yeah, I really like them. Even though they're just big essentially humanoid enemies. They have enough animalistic attacks to make them really cool in my opinion. And I would give them a B. Okay, Bloodhound Knight Darrowil. I don't think the regular Bloodhound Knight is on here that you fight in the Crystal Cave in Liurnia. But that is probably because Bloodhound Knight Darrowil is no different to that one. I quite like Darrowil. I like that there's so few Bloodhound Knights that it feels like they're basically bosses. I like that there's 2 Bloodhound Knight boss types. Boss fights, sorry. But yeah. I think that they're quite cool. Their armor's really cool. But they're not that good. Like, in the grand scheme of things, they're just sort of decent. They remind me of the Omen Killer, and I'll probably rank them along the same. Yeah, there's some cool information about the Bloodhound Knights. I like that they're just sort of mute entities that latch onto just one master for all their life. That's quite cool. Yeah. I think C is a worthy position for them. They do really remind me of the Omen Killers in terms of sort of like status, I guess. Okay. Putrid Avatar. Not as cool as Erdtree Avatar, but still pretty cool. They're basically the same fight, other than Scarlet Rot on the big jump attack. The Scarlet Rot just makes things a bit more annoying because you're forced to run away if you're not in the correct position. You can't just roll into it because you're going to take loads of damage, and the Scarlet Rot is going to build up, and then you're going to die even quicker, and blah, 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 blah. I thought I hated the Putrid Avatars at one point in my playthrough, simply because the one that's near Garank I couldn't beat for the life of me, but it was because my controller actually turned out to be dodgy. Whenever I would run to the side to avoid those like bolts of holy damage, my controller would start drifting, and it would make me stop, and then I would always get hit. And because I was not meant to be fighting it, but I was convinced that I could fight it, and getting quite upset that I couldn't beat it. I don't know if I was upset, but I was definitely really annoyed. But yeah, I still do enjoy fighting the Putrid Avatars because they're basically the same boss, just with a little bit of annoyance sprinkled in. Okay, Omen Killer and Miranda. Whoa! Now, right, this one is not much better than Miranda. It's only just better than Miranda. Omen Killer is a cool fight. You ruin it with Miranda, really, to be perfectly honest. But at least it's not in a tiny room, and at least there's not any of the little plants that are going to try and kill you. Other than that, regular duo boss fight that's just regular enemies. What's good about that? Moving on. Erdtree Burial Watchdog Duo. Where's there a duo? Oh, that's in Caelid. Just as you enter and you go around the little and you go around the first minor Erdtree. Okay. I remember being very intimidated by this because of how much damage they did. However, they're not that hard once you get to a certain level. They're just sort of the Erdtree Burial Watchdog, but you've got to keep an eye on 2 of them instead of 1. Oh yeah, and one of them has ranged attacks, which is kind of annoying, but oh well. As duo bosses go, I like them more than most, mainly because I like the Burial Watchdogs. I think they're quite a cool boss. It annoyed me when they started becoming just regular catacomb type enemies, because they are hard to kill. They are they have so much health and such. They're annoying to deal with, especially at one point. I remember that there's 2 of them, and one of them's, or both of them are shadow ones. You have to lead them into the light before you can kill them. Oh, that was such a pain. But the actual boss themselves, as duo fights go, I give it a C. I think it's the highest rating for a duo fight I've given so far. Duo, trio, duo, duo, duo. Yeah, it's the highest one so far. Oh no, Crucible Knight Duo ranks the same. Okay. Full-grown Falling Star Beast. Now, I remember when I first fought this, I didn't realize that there was a difference between the Falling Star Beast and the full-grown one, which you fight in Mount Gelmir. But there is a difference. They have a few more attacks, and they look ever so slightly different. I think that the Falling Star Beasts in general are a really cool fight. Other than the kind of annoying one that you fight in the really small cave, but that's not this one. They look very aesthetically cool. I'm realizing that I'm saying cool a hell of a lot. So I'm going to try and vary my vocabulary going on. So I don't just say cool for everything. I like the sort of eldritch alien vibes that they give off. Yeah, I enjoy the Falling Star Beast fight, and I like the fact that it has some interesting new moves with that like laser cannon thing that it's got going on, and the bigger rock explosion from the ground attacks. I like them, and I would give it a B. Crystallian Duo. It's just the Crystallian, but there's 2 of them. Not quite as bad as the Putrid Crystallian Trio, because, you know, there's only 2, and they're not doing Scarlet Rot. They're quite easy, in all honesty. And I remember one of them has a very cool dungeon leading up to it, which maybe improves my opinion of it. But, yeah, Crystallian Duo. It's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. Mad Pumpkin. Now, this is the sort of boss where it's just a regular enemy, but it works for me. I like that it's just sort of stuck in like a cellar. I assume the duo fight is on here as well, because they've done a good job at separating the 2 so far, but maybe not. Excuse me. Maybe there's not, actually. I'm actually struggling to see that one, but maybe there is. I'll rank it as if it's both of them. No, I'll rank it as if it's just the one on its own and not just the duo fight, because maybe the duo was on there and I just can't see it. Mad Pumpkinhead, I really like. Obviously, it looks interesting. It's quite a slow enemy, and I like the fact that it has the sort of gimmick of you can't hit it in the head because it does basically no damage, and your attacks just sort of bounce off. I really do like that. Mad Pumpkinhead. So Sorry, I'm not taking the mick out of your quiz. You've saved me a job making it myself. Um, but yeah, I do like this boss. And I think in both cases, you don't get a reward from them. You just get access to a room beyond it. You don't get a drop necessarily from the boss itself. Guard Selen, which is interesting. I wonder why they put a Pumpkinhead in charge of guarding her. What's the law? What does it mean? Other than that, what can I say about them? They become regular enemies at some points. I mean, but the placement of them in the cellars makes sense if they were to be regular enemies. I don't know. It kind of harks back to the Sanguine Noble for me. That they are placed in a place that makes sense for a regular enemy to be. And so I rank them alongside the Sanguine Noble at the C tier. Grave Warden Duelist. Grave Warden Duelist. Is the Putrid Duelist on here? Maybe. Yes, there he is. Okay, Grave Warden Duelist themselves. Interesting. They become a regular enemy by Lanedell. I know my friend would be very unhappy if I put them in a low tier, so I'm not going to do that. He does have that cool bit where he throws off his cloak. Their armor is also pretty cool. I like that you can get the cloak, although you can't throw it off, which is a shame. I like the one that just enlists some like living pots to help him for some reason. I don't know why, but he does. They've got some cool attacks, I guess, as well. Not too bad. I will give them a C as well. I don't know. I feel like they're sparse enough that it doesn't really get old that they are sometimes regular enemies. Yeah, I think C is a very respectable place for them to be. I'm glad that there's not a Grave Warden Duelist duo, because that would be hell, I think. Okay. Battle Mage Hughes, I assume is how you say it, Hughes. He is an Everjail boss in Caelid, if I remember right. And you get him. You get him as a summon if you beat him, which I guess is kind of cool. I like that you can. I like that certain enemies will do that. I'm gonna be honest. He can't rank very highly for me because he staggers so easily that pretty much all his attacks are interrupted, other than the one where he like bashes you with his head. He's not very good. Aesthetically, he's quite cool. I don't want to say cool, but he's quite cool aesthetically. I like that he's just got a big bonking stick as his weapon when he's not using spells, and he uses the cannon and the gavel of Heimer. They're cool spells that you don't really see anywhere else. But again, regular enemy. So D tier. Elemer of the Briar. Okay. Elemer of the Briar is cool because he's got some lore. Let's get it out the way. Other than that, I think he is essentially the same as the Bell-Bearing Hunter. So he gets a C. But he's a cooler C. Do you see what I am talking about? He's cool in the fact that he drops the sword that he uses. The sword that he uses is really good. I think he has the exact same attacks as the Bell-Bearing Hunter because he's supposed to be the same guy. Yeah, so all my reasoning as to why Bell-Bearing Hunters deserve to be in C. Actually, no. Get B. It's not as annoying to summon as the Bell-Bearing Hunters. Yeah, okay. B. No. High C. High C. I didn't think I'd be this divisive about fucking Elemer, but here I am. Okay. Brilliant gargoyles. No. Okay. I stand with most people that this is not a good fight, but it is I stand against most people in that it is not the worst fight in the game. It is a duo fight, which kind of sucks. And it's really hard to do if you are using melee, but if you're using spells, it's not too bad. However, it is still pretty damn bad. The fact that it is a trophy boss is kind of annoying. The only reason that I am not ranking it F is because I think it looks good. The arena themselves, they look good. You don't really see that many other gargoyles. You see broken ones a lot in Lanedale, but there's only two other gargoyles I can think of. That aren't the Black Blade Kindred ones. Yeah. I don't despise the Valiant Gargoyles, I just dislike the fact that I have to fight them sometimes. I always get to them and I go, oh, it's this bit again, you know? Sort of that feeling. The best thing about them is that one of them threw themselves off a off a cliff. I remember the first time I played, and they've patched it since then, so they can't do it. But there's a cliff in the arena that is just an instant death for you and for them if they fall off it. And one of them did their sort of like jump attack where they jump to one side of you, and I just happened to be over there healing, and it was the one that spawns in as you are fighting the other one, so it's the one with more health generally. And so I was fighting one, and I was so close to killing the first one, the one that jumped down, and I was just praying that the second one didn't get that involved. And then it jumped off and it killed itself. So I took full advantage of that situation. I don't think I have face cam when I was fighting them, but I was so relieved. Because I could feel that it was an annoying boss. Even though I hadn't really fought the second one yet. I like that they switch weapons. That is a cool part of the fight. I like that they're both they both have different weapons and they both switch between two different ones, which is quite cool. The only thing that is also annoying is the fact that they have that poison breath. Oh, that's so annoying. Anyway, Crucible Knight and Misbegotten Warrior. I like the Crucible Knight. I don't like the Misbegotten Warrior nearly as much. Misbegotten Warrior is fine. I like the fact that the Crucible Knight doesn't really get involved until you've gotten a good way through the Misbegotten Warrior health bar. Wow, we still have so many left. How many have I done so far? 3, 10, 17, 21, 25, 31, 35, 37. Oh my god, there's so many left. There's over 50 left. Wow. I shouldn't have started this so late. I put it off all day. Anyway, Crucible Knight is a cool fight. I like that he doesn't get involved until the Misbegotten Warrior has generally gotten down to at least half health. Misbegotten Warrior is just a fine fight. It's nothing special. It's nothing to write home about. I don't think it's any different to the Leonine Misbegotten, to be perfectly honest. But it is a duo fight. Duo fights just break my heart. I don't know why. Just put it in D. Elder Dragon Grail. This isn't technically a boss fight. It's just an enemy with a lot of health and kind of a gimmick to it. It's completely stationary. Has a lot of health that mainly doing bleed and Scarlet Rot will be the main methods of doing actual like percentage damage to it. But it does have the additional benefit of having loads of little sort of baby dragons around it that when you kill actually reduces its health bar. However, why would you kill Elder Dragon Grail if you're not doing a speedrun or something? Like, there's no reason to do it. People should stop doing. People should stop doing it. There's no need. She's the mother of all dragons. She doesn't need to die. You've just sentenced the dragon race to extinction by killing her. You've done nothing good. She's great. B tier. Crucible Knight Siluria. She is the named version of the one that has the tree weapon. I don't like the ones with the tree weapon as much as I like the ones with the sword. But I like Crucible Knight Siluria. I want to know more about her because I do love the Crucible Knights. I wish she had more lore than just being the commander of a certain section of the Crucible Knights. I think it's a woman. I think I'm saying she correctly. Other than that, I actually don't think she has a unique attack, unlike Ordovis. So I'm gonna put her in C alongside Ordovis, but she would be B if she had a unique attack that was unique to her Crucible Knightness. Okay, Clean Rock Knight Duo. What a stupid boss again. This is an E because it's not like a terrible duo fight. It's not annoying like the Kindred of Rot. It's not pointless. It at least has some flair to it. The fact that the Clean Rock Knights, one of them stood there and then one of them rises out of the swamp that you're in. But it's not fun either. Like, there's not really much point. Yeah. So E tier, boo, bad duo fight, but not boo, really bad duo fight worthy. Okay, Falling Star Beast. Where did I put the first one? I give it a C because it's not as cool as the big boy Falling Star Beast, but it is still pretty damn cool. I like a lot of its attacks. I'm saying cool a lot again. I need to stop saying cool. Yeah. Not an average fight. Oh, I guess it is average if it's in C. Maybe I should put it in B. No, C makes sense. I like the crater that one of them is in, near Lanedell. That's quite a good setting, I think. You don't have to fight it in the crater, but I like the fact that it just charges out of the crater as you approach. That's really cool. Yes, C tier. Doesn't have the cool attacks of the full-grown one, but still a damn good boss. I feel like I need to put it in here because I'm saying it's a damn good boss, and I think I'll just put Falling Star Beast at the top of B tier. Not got many A's. Still no S's either. Okay. Deathrite Beard. Deathrite Beard. I like them. I think that they are very visually epic. I think is the right word for it. A lot of their attacks are seriously cool. They're just basically a big beefed up version of the regular Deathbird, but I like them to a point where they go beyond just like one tier above. The only one I find necessarily annoying to fight is the one in the Consecrated Snowfields. Simply because it has so much health, and it's kind of a pain to run back to. I remember I think I cheesed that one for the most part. I fought it legitimately until I ran out of heals, and then I just cheesed it with magic. By going out of its aggro range. Other than that, I really like them as a fight. Good lore, good looks, handsome boy, good Deathrite bird. A lot of them aren't night exclusive as well, which it makes them different to the Deathbirds. And I don't know why. Yeah, I really like their wings as well, and the fact that it looks like there's people in the wings, and then the people become the like projectiles that it launches out. That's really cool. Let me just check I'm still recording. I am, and I'm still being picked up by my microphone. I am. We've been going for 54 minutes. And I feel like we're probably only halfway through, if that. Mimic Tear. Mimic Tear, cool fight. Very good fight. Really shocked me the first time that I saw it. I don't know, I enjoy it. It's an NPC fight with an interesting twist. I'm aware that like a bunch of other games have done the sort of you fight yourself gimmick. But this is a first for Souls games, as far as I'm aware. I'm counting Elden Ring as a Souls game. Don't come for me. I think that's generally accepted that it is basically a Souls game anyway. Yeah, I love the Mimic Tear. I like that not all the Mimic Tears do that, and then some of the actual like enemy Mimic Tears take on random human proportions and weapons and armor. I like that there's sort of like a defense mechanism that they can do that. But they don't always just transform into you, because that would just get really boring really quickly. It's a regular enemy boss fight amped up to something really cool. And as I say, the stray Mimic Tear would be like maybe even S tier, depending on if there was like some sort of gimmick with why it's a stray one. Maybe it could have like been you, but it also like cheats in some way. Like, oh, maybe Miyazaki, if you want to like pay me for this idea, this would be cool. Stray Mimic Tear, maybe it's like hanging on the ceiling as you go through the boss fog, and it like drops down onto you, and it steals all your armor and then becomes the you that enters the boss room. But it stole all your armor, right? So now you don't have any armor. I guess you would have to like keep your weapons. Oh no, you could change them on the fly, obviously. But you'd have to like improvise really quickly, and then it like scuttles off into the corner and transforms into you. So it gives you enough time to like get some armor and re-equip your weapon. But once it's stolen that armor, maybe it should stay like that until you defeat it. Or maybe you should get it back when you die. I don't know. How did the Covetous Demon do it? I don't know in particular. But yeah, I think that would have made it quite cool. Like it forgoes the traditional mimic variety, and it's just sort of like this weird slime instead of necessarily a mimic. Yeah. That's my idea, Miyazaki. You can have that one. On me for making a good game. Grafted Scion boss. First boss you technically fight. Even though you probably don't win. And you lose all your souls when you fight it regardless. I think. I've never actually beaten it on the first go, because I'm rubbish. Very cool design. Makes sense that it's in Stormvale Castle, but I kind of wish it wasn't, because it's really early on and you get to just see it again immediately. There's also one in Mount Gelmir, and I think there's one that comes from a transforming enemy somewhere, maybe in Liurnia. I don't remember. Oh, I think it's a lobster. I think you kill a lobster and then it turns into a grafted scion for some reason. Oh, because it's a mimic. I remember, it's a mimic. Yeah, I think it is a cool fight. Is it the only one that does the weapon art where it buffs the weapons and then attacks a bit differently? I actually don't know. But yeah, I think that this is a cool fight, even though it does eventually become a sort of regular enemy type fight. So I will give it a C. Now, Great Worm Theodorix. I have such mixed feelings about. I don't really remember fighting him that well, but I think that he immediately goes into the standing up stance, which is unique. But he has so much health. He is ridiculously tanky. and he's kind of annoying to fight. The only thing that makes it fun to fight him is those giant squid balls that are nearby. They'll attack him as well if you don't aggro them onto yourself. And they're actually really good at fighting him. They were better than I was at fighting him in terms of damage when I fought him. Yeah, he's just kind of annoying, really. And I wish that, like, in a similar vein to, what's an example? I wish that in a similar vein to something like Lanciax, where... Actually, no, maybe that is a bad example. In a similar vein to the Dragonkin Soldier of Noxtella, right? Because he gets a bunch of new attacks. I don't think Great Worm Theodorix has any different attacks than the regular standing up Magma Worm does. And I feel like Great Worm is such a good title that they wasted it just putting it on a regular large Magma Worm. So, I don't know. It feels like a waste to me. It feels like they could have done something cool with it. But it is a Magma Worm at the end of the day, so I'll just put it in D. It's not as good as the regular Magma Worm for a number of reasons. Tanky, annoying to fight, does so much damage. Yeah. Could have been so much cooler. There you go. Okay, Commander O'Neill. Which one is this? Is this... Where's Commander Nile? I need to look at him and see what he looks like so that I can figure out who this guy is. Commander Nile. Oh, he's in the frosty place. Okay, so Commander O'Neill is the one in Caelid. He's the one in the swamp. Commander O'Neill is an interesting fight because he has those summons that he spawns in and he buffs them, which is quite interesting. He can be really easily cheesed. He can be really easily cheesed just by getting on a log and leading him through and attacking him from afar, or just leading him through those like geyser things. Geysers, not geysers. And I do like how he looks, to be fair. Commander's Standard is a good... I think it can be used as a weapon and as a buff in general to your summons. When there's not that many other buffs to summons, to be fair, I'm gonna give him a B because he's not annoying to fight at all. He's quite cool, to be honest. Again, word cool coming in clutch in my vocabulary. Blackblade Kindred. Blackblade Kindred is essentially... Where did I put them? The Valiant Gargoyle fight, but good, in my opinion. I quite enjoy the Blackblade Kindred fights. I like that it inflicts the Destined Death debuff, whatever it's called. I like the visual aspect of some of its attacks. I like the visual aspect of them themselves. I like that they're so sparse as well. Although it is quite weird that there's one in the Forbidden Lands. I'm not sure why it's in the Forbidden Lands and not in Farum Azula, because obviously that's where Malekith is, Blackblade Malekith. But still, way cooler than the Gargoyles in terms of attacks and looks. And cooler just in general because it's not a stupid dual fight. And it still has that weapon switching aspect that I like. And so, a B for the Blackblade Kindred, for the BB Kindred. B for the BBK. I don't want the BBK to turn out to be something awful, so I rescind that comment. Moog the Omen. This is Sewer Moog. Sorry for me fiddling around. I'm just very aware of the fact that this has been going on for a while and I'm getting uncomfortable. Moog the Omen, Sewer Moog. He is good practice for actual Moog, and still cool enough to be a good high contender, in my opinion. I like that he is guarding the entrance to both the Deep Root Depths and to the Frenzied Flame bit. It makes sense in that regard, and I like that he's just an illusion as well. He has so much good lore going for him, even though he's not the actual Moog. And he's a pretty fun fight regardless. Where do I want to put... This is kind of hard. Maybe B? Or maybe A. I like, as well, this is another thing I like about him, that he is only the first phase of Moog. Like, obviously Moog has his Nihil attack, where he then transforms into his second phase where he has the wings and everything, and he can do way more crazy stuff. And I like that he holds back. Like, because of the fact that maybe because he's an illusion, like he can't send his full power through, just like Morgott can't do it when he sends Margit's like illusion self. Like he doesn't have all the attacks of Morgott, and just like Margit, oh god, there's so many names. Margit doesn't have all of Morgott's attacks, but neither does Moog the Omen have all of Moog Lord of Blood's attacks. And so, I'm really tempted to put it in A, to be perfectly honest. Just there's so much good lore, looks great, holds back so that you still have that good surprise when you fight real Moog. And just fun in general, a fun fight regardless. Like, the bleed doesn't get annoying, I find. I hate bleed in general, like on Esger and on anything else that does bleed, pretty much. I find it annoying, but Moog does not annoy me. Just because I was so hyper obsessed with figuring out who the Lord of Blood was. I saw the Lord of Blood in an item description, and I saw Mogren Palace off in Nokron, and I thought, this is so cool. And I just wanted to know more. Yeah, I'm a fan. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Good. Glad cool is not left yet, even though I'm trying. Astel, whichever one it is. The first Astel as well. I think it's Astel. Astel. First Astel. The one in the Lake of Rot, just after the Lake of Rot. I like this fight a lot. Very eldritch, very Lovecraftian. Definitely one of the visually the best bosses, and its soundtrack is really good as well. And I like that it has the links to the Falling Star beasts, and that it is one of these cosmic nightmares that Radahn is holding back. Yeah, all around a really cool boss. I've also just noticed that it says Nortralborn. Nortralborn of the Void. Again, I'm not making fun of the quiz. I give him an A. He's a really, really good boss. The only thing that's kind of sad is that his remembrance items are not very good. But, you know, that doesn't make or break a boss, really. Yeah, I think an A is well deserved for the first Estelle. Okay. Putrid Grave Warden Duelist. Where did I put the first Grave Warden Duelist? I think I put it in C, right? Honestly, the Putrid one is not that much different. It does have... I noticed in the randomizer that I was doing, that the Putrid one has fairly different attacks from the Grave Warden Duelist. So I'm going to put them on the same level, because the Scarlet Rot aspect of the Putrid one does not get that annoying. I don't think I've been Scarlet Rotted by it. I think it's quite similar to the Grave Warden Duelist in terms of difficulty, but it has a changed up moveset, which I like. And you can also get the armor for this one, and the armor is equally cool. Okay, the Red Wolf of Radagon. Radagon. Whenever I think of Radagon now, I think of Ratagan from The Great Mouse Detective. It's just the names are too similar. Anyway, Red Wolf of Radagon. That's the one in Raya Lucaria. I think it's a fun fight, although it moves about too much. I always despise hating them when they're out in the open. No, I always despise fighting them when I am out in the open and I find one. Like, there's one after Keria Manor, there's one in Nokron in the, like, foresty bit. There's probably one elsewhere that I just can't think of. Oh, there's one in the Consecrated Snowfields. I hate that one. I could not beat that one. I just ran away. They're not worth fighting, in my opinion. The one in the room is fine. I think it was a cool when I first saw it. Not so cool when I saw it again. Because it's very weak. I think that is like the best bit about it. And it's got some annoying attacks, but I do like the sword that it summons. It is cool that it has that sword in its mouth for no apparent reason. That is a cool attack. I'll give it that. So I'll give it a C. I'm gonna go get some water. I've got a sore throat anyway. I waited until I had a sore throat to record this very talking intensive video. Just because I thought it'd be funny. That's a joke. I realize that might not come through as a joke. Okay. Who's next? Stone Digger Troll. Is fine. I don't think there's any enemy versions of this, even though there's the regular trolls. I think the ones with the hammers are exclusive to the dungeons, but they're basically the same enemy. They're not that different from the regular trolls to fight. And I don't really like fighting the regular trolls, to be perfectly honest. Honestly, the coolest troll, in my opinion, is the Madness one that's in certain random areas. Here's a question. Is there a link between Moog and his sort of dynasty and Madness? Because I don't think there is explicitly. And also Estelle, right? Because there's those Madness ruins in the Consecrated Snowfields, and they're called the Yellow Annie Ruins, or Annex Ruins. I don't know how you actually meant to say it. Yellow Annex Ruins. And then there's the Yellow Annex Tunnel, which has the second version of Estelle in it. And then there's the Moog portal, the portal to the Mogwin Palace place. Really close to both of them. So, is there a link? Or is Consecrated Snowfields just strange? Probably the last thing. It's just got a bit of everything, the Consecrated Snowfields. They just went, yeah, we can do what we want in this area that no one can see. Let's make it a bit Dark Souls 2 and a bit completely incomprehensible. And yeah, at least I didn't go all Dark Souls 2 and just go reindeers again. Reindeers again. Anyway, got completely off track. Don't know why I started talking about that. Oh, it's because Madness Trolls. Stone Digger Trolls, they're a D. They're fine, I guess. They sort of rank alongside the Carrion Knight boss. Red Wolf of the Champions is literally no different to Red Wolf of Radagon, I don't think. Just far more annoying to get to, but I'm not ranking it based on that, I forgot. I literally don't think they're at all different. I don't remember them having any different attacks, other than this one can do more. Like, this one does 5 of those stationary magic bolts that go after a certain amount of time, but the first one can only do 3, I think. Other than that, this one's just far more annoying to get to, but again, not ranking it based on that. My opinions towards it are the same as towards the first one. It also has little enough health that it's not that much of an issue. And it still looks cool visually. Okay, we are at... How many is there on this row? 3, 6, 7, 10, 14. Wow, we've got so many left. 14, 28, 42, 55! 55 left! I thought we were just over 50 before. Frick. So many. Anyway, okay. Adan, Thief of Fire. He is found in Liurnia, in an Everjail. He's quite interesting. I wish you could get his armor. And I wish there was more information about him. And I wish he was just cooler in general, because he uses the cool pyromancy, and you get it really early on. But I wish, like, he didn't just use a flail, and he wasn't just, like, a guy. He was some cool guy that stole the flame of the giants and stole this legendary spell. I wish he was cooler. He has a concept that is cool inherently. He's the Thief of Fire. He's like Prometheus or something. But he's not that good. Like, he's also quite weak because he's just an NPC. Like, he can heal once, and that means they gave him like no HP basically. The only way you die to him is by that the spell that he uses, the exploding one, because that one-shots you at low levels. One-shot me at low levels. Anyway, I'm projecting. Adan, Thief of Fire, is going in D or in C? Do I like him enough to put him in C? Kind of. No, he's going in D. He's going in D. Okay. C is still the biggest tier. So there's a lot of average bosses, and there's actually seemingly more bad bosses. Like, if we're saying C is average, D, E, and F are bad, B, A, and S are good. There's more bad bosses than there are good so far. Alabaster Lord, this goes exactly on par with the Onyx Lord, because they're the exact same enemy, and I don't know why they're called two different things. But they are, and so, you know, we'll live with it. Tree Sentinel, the single one. The big FU to the to every single new player ever. And just sort of the biggest, like, you're not supposed to fight me right now. Go and get a horse. Hint that you will get in the game. But a really cool fight, and I give him a B. I enjoy fighting him, although it did make me... it did really humble me that, so obviously, not when I started New Game Plus, but when I started a new playthrough, I was like, I've fought loads of Tree Sentinels at this point. Like, I can take him on just from, like, coming out of the starting bit. No, I couldn't. I still died a bunch. And I don't think I beat him until I went and got Torrent. Torrent just makes the fight so much nicer. Yeah, B tier. B tier, B tier. Knights Cavalry. I love the Knights Cavalry. A tier. I know where I'm putting them. It's an A tier. What can you say about them? They have such cool lore. It's actually just now sort of confusing me what their involvement is in the Night of the Black Knives, because there is the story trailer cutscene that they released before the game came out, where you see the you see the Knights Cavalry riding along in the darkness, like they're gonna go and do something. Maybe they're going to stop the Night of the Black Knives from happening? Because then you immediately see Godwyn die. You see them racing through the forest, and then you see Godwyn die. So yeah, I wonder what their involvement is. Maybe Morgoth sent them to stop it from happening, or to I don't know. Because as far as I'm aware, they have no involvement. Anyway, they themselves are really cool. They look visually amazing. They're like the Nazgul, obviously from Lord of the Rings. Uh, I wish there was another variety. I wish there was halberd, flail, and something else. Even if it was just like sword or maybe just one that didn't. I guess then they wouldn't be the cavalry. Never mind. I was going to say one that didn't use the horse, but that wouldn't make much sense. But yeah, I like that there is. I don't think there's 10 of them, actually. I think there's 9. Oh no, there's a duo one. Okay, there is 10. I don't know why I always assumed there was 9. I think it's because there's 9 Nazgul. I think I say that very confidently. Yeah, there is 9. There's 9 men that get the rings. Okay. Or is there 9 men and then there's the Witch King? This is Lord of the Rings. It's not Elden Ring. Yeah, I really like fighting them. I think they're cool. I think the fact that you can kill their horse and then they can resummon it is really cool. And I think the Tree Sentinels and Loretta should have had that capability. Like, I like fighting the Knights Cavalry when they're not on their horse as well. And I wish you could have done that with Loretta and the Tree Sentinels and the Draconic one. Like, I think it would have been really cool. The fact that they could do it with the Knights Cavalry suggests to me that they could do it with the rest of them. They just chose not to for some reason. Even if you just gave the Tree Sentinel and Loretta like loads more armor, because obviously like loads more health, because obviously they're armored, whereas the Knights Cavalry ones are just covered in fabric. Yeah, I think that would have been cool. Anyway, yeah, very cool. Knights Cavalry, big ups. I love their armor. Great stuff. Good knight enemy as well. They're one of the ones that I encounter more often than the Deathbirds and the Bellbearing Hunters, because obviously those two spawn in when you get close to where they spawn, but the Knights Cavalry are always just roaming when you're at night, when you're out at night, so you will always see them as just this like shambling black shape across the landscape, which is cool in my opinion, as everything is. Godfrey! 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 I wish he was cool. I wish he was different. Like, I remember when I first fought him, I thought, I really liked fighting Godric. And I'm glad I get to fight Godric again. But I wish that instead of fighting Godric again, instead of fighting Godric again and he was called Godfrey, I wish they'd just let us respawn bosses, or just fight them in some sort of dream or something, to make it work with lore and stuff. Because Godfrey, I like the fact that I get to fight Godric again, but I don't want to just fight Godric because he's someone else that just did the same thing. I wish Godfrey the Grafted was called Godfrey the Grafted, but he was just different, extreme example of grafting. He didn't just end up looking like Godric again. I wish that he'd gone mad and grafted what would have been cool, bat parts and the squid arm or something. I wish he'd grafted different things and been a different enemy instead of just being Godric again in the first phase. He's cool, but that's because he's Godric. It ruins the sort of illusion of Godric being this insane, decrepit old man. I give him a D, which is not as low as some people would rate him, but still quite low. Just fight Godric. Speaking of Godric, Soldier Godric. the technically the tutorial boss. What can I say about this? What redeeming features does Soldier of Godric have? Other than the meme potential. No, he's not good. He's not a good boss. I hate to break it to everyone, but he's still better than some of these. He's definitely better than Kindred of Rot. He's definitely better than Miranda. Because at least he fights, and at least he's just a tutorial boss. Like, but then again, right? I'm gonna put him there because Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2. Well, not really Dark Souls 2 because it has a very different tutorial. Dark Souls 2, but Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3, and Demon Souls all have actual tutorial bosses. Like, they're not just an enemy that you are gonna fight in like 5 minutes, like down the road. But it's funny that that is the direction they were like, yes. I guess because they're trying to market it as like accessible, well, more accessible than Dark Souls and Bloodborne in a way. Oh God, my throat is really hurting. Um, yeah, they try to market Elden Ring as being much more accessible. So I guess having like a really hard tutorial boss would put some people off. Although he is completely optional, but I think that once you commit to going down that hole, if you've not lit any other graces, then you're stuck down there. So I guess he's kind of not optional once you commit to going to the tutorial area. I don't know. Mixed bag of emotions when it comes to Soldier of God, Rick. Misbegotten Crusader. This is the one near Theodorix in the cave. Now, he is a cool boss. He's better than the Misbegotten Warrior in my opinion, and the Leonine one. He's better than those two, simply because he has unique attacks. I'm gonna give him a B. He is still insanely strong, like way too strong for his own good, with that stupid holy Golden Order relic sword or whatever it's called. Golden Order sword, that's what it's called. Did I just get a message? I did. That's strange. It is 1:15. How did I get? Who's messaging me? Sorry, got very distracted then. People are still messaging me. Oh no, that's saying that my... Never mind, that's an email. Yeah, Misbegotten Crusader. I like that he is different enough. I really like the dungeon that he's in. It's one of the best dungeons in terms of like looks and everything. But I'm not rating on that. I'm not rating on that. Stop thinking about it. Misbegotten Crusader is a cool fight. He's way too strong. That's the only reason I don't rank him more higher up in B. I'm gonna be honest. Like where these ones are doesn't really matter. To be perfectly honest. Other than this one ranks higher. I'm gonna put the full grown one to A. I do really like this one. What was I on? Misbegotten Crusader. Yeah. Very, very good boss, in my opinion. Although, bit of a bollock to run back to. But, you know, can't have everything. Borealis, the Freezing Fog. As a dragon fight, he's not that much different to most of the dragons. He has one unique attack, I think. But his entrance is very cool. Like, that this fog starts just getting more and more and more dense, and then you just hear this dragon cry out of nowhere. I think that is really good. Like presentation for a boss. Sorry, I keep like going horse. So I don't know if that gets picked up. So sorry if that keeps happening. But yeah, Borealis of the Freezing Fog is a pretty damn good dragon fight. I put him in C. Just for his entrance, really. He's on par with Flying dragon, yeah. Ancient dragon Lanciax, right. Lanciax. I... Lanciax is quite interesting, in my opinion. Because it is just another ancient dragon. But you don't get to see another ancient dragon until... until Farum Azula. For some reason. There's loads of them there. But Lanciax is really cool. I remember when I went up on that hill and then it just like crashes in. It's such a cool feeling. And a lot of its attacks are great. I love the lightning, the red lightning dragons. I think that's definitely one of the coolest additions that Elden Ring brought. Like dragons should be weak to lightning, according to everything that the Souls series taught you. But these guys are wielding it. That's cool. And it always intrigued me, right? Because in the first gameplay trailer that we got for Elden Ring, Lanciax is in a place with the Caelid rot type plants near a bunch of carriages that are like knocked over, which is where you first encounter it. But that area no longer has the Caelid rot plants, which it had in the trailer. So I always wonder, like, why was that changed? And I wonder when was that changed, so that Caelid has all the rot plants, and Lanciax probably no longer spawns in Caelid, I guess. Or maybe there was a similar ancient dragon in Caelid, and it just happened to be where those carts are, and they moved it to Altus for some reason. I don't know. But I really like Lanciax, even though it does eventually just become another enemy. I really like Lanciax. Especially the first time you encounter it. Like it just comes barreling through that valley sort of thing, and you are not strong enough to defeat it most of the time. And even if you are, I think it teleports away. But I like that it jumps up and it does that like weird symbol when it vanishes. I really like that. That's cool. Aesthetically, it's one of the best bosses, I think. Ancestor Spirit. Where do I rank that? Because I do like the Regal Ancestor Spirit more. I will be completely honest, even though we're not up to that point. I'll move that a bit closer. Ancestor Spirit, the first one. Aesthetically, amazing. But the Regal one has it beat. Not that annoying to get to. It's quite a cool gimmick to access it. It doesn't really give you much though, I don't think. I don't remember what it gives you. It gives you the ancestral follower spirit ashes, which is not a great reward. I think it could have given you something cooler. But for how hyped I was to fight it, given its presence in the trailer, I knew that there had to be a second one, because it didn't do any of the there was none of those like animals, the like glowy animals in the arena when you fight it, because obviously you see that in the gameplay trailer. But I do like it. I will give him a B. B, I think, is right. And its music is really good as well. It has that sort of like, what is the word? sort of like native, sort of like not folk music, but like native rattle noises and like a deserty feel. I really like it. What is the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It's cool. Cool bit of music. Right. Nox Duo. This is just another weird duo fight. I don't know why it exists, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, it just goes there, really. Nothing really that cool about it, other than the fact that it's in front of one of those big thrones that are still basically unexplained, really. Yeah, not that interesting. Other than that, definitely not my favorite fight at all. Definitely not my favorite duo fight. But definitely not my least favorite duo fight. I don't actually know if this is my least favorite, but it's definitely a contender. Commander Nile, so the guy in the frosty bit. Okay, he one-ups Commander O'Neill, definitely. So he's got to go in A tier. He's not an S tier, because he's still annoying to fight. I hate his spirit summons. That is an annoyance. And the run back to him, also an annoyance. But his second phase is so cool. Like, the fact that once you kill his spirit summons or get him down to a loan of health, and he'll go into that second phase where he's got lightning on his goddamn foot, that's cool. I really like that. And he doesn't do the stupid Scarlet Rot that Commander O'Neill uses. So I like him even more for not having Scarlet Rot. Good job, Commander O'Neill. Oh, sorry. Good job, Commander Nile. Your names are too similar. Fear's Champions. That's hard. That's hard. Because it is an NPC fight at the end of the day. Just with a bit of a gimmick that there's multiple phases to it. I don't hate it. I've never fought it while I'm online, though. So I always get the... Wait. Is that the one that changes? I don't know if it does change, actually. Or is that just the ones outside of the jar? Outside of the Great Jar? The invaders? Do they change according to, like, other people who fought them? Do Fear's Champions do the same? I don't know. I've never fought them anyway. If they do change. I've only ever fought Lionel and his merry band of men. We're nearly at 42. Woo! Okay. Fear's Champions, it's a fine boss. It's one of the more forgettable bosses that you've just got to go through in order to get to a better boss. I'll give it a D. It's not the worst thing in the world, especially given that there's a trio aspect to it at one point. It's not awful. Everyone's so weak that it just sort of, other than Lionel, everyone's so weak that it's just sort of quite easy to do. Easy to breeze through, that's how to do it. Now, Glintstone Dragon, they've put times 2.5, and I think that's because you have to fight a doula once until he gets to half health. But I would regard Smarag and a doula as being different enough to be worth, separating. But I guess if I'm just going to rank one of them, I would pick a doula, because Smarag is just the same as the flying ones. He just has a magic attack instead of a fire attack. But a doula has the sword attack, which is really cool. And if I'm going to give a doula, if I'm going to rate a doula, I'm going to give it a B tier. My brain keeps... I'm in the mode of doing a PowerPoint at the minute because I've got a presentation to do, and I'm in the mode of pressing Control S every 5 minutes, and my brain keeps going, oh, I've got to save this. Oh, I've got to save this. No, you don't have to save it, Ethan. It's fine. How long have we been going for? Hour and 40. Oh my god. I'm gonna be honest. I thought it'd take 40 minutes. Astel the second version. It is just Astel the first version, but with so much more health and a more annoying grab attack. I rank it one down from wherever I put Astel. Because at least it makes more sense lore-wise. No. Yeah, okay, no, it's fine. Because even though it has more health, the grab attack is relatively rare, and you can dodge it. There's ways to dodge it. It makes way more sense to have two Astels than it does to have two Godric's, essentially, with Godefroy. Like, it makes way more sense. So I don't mind it as much at all, really. Other than how difficult it is. Runebear! What a stupid boss. I hate this boss. It's not that difficult, the boss version. I'm basing it off the enemy and my hatred for it, to be perfectly honest. All of its attacks are so annoying, I think. Especially its grab attack. Because I always misjudge how far away I have to be to not get grabbed by it. Other than that, it's not the worst thing in the world, I guess. Let's see, right? Have we got more in the good now or more in the bad? I feel like we've got a lot more in good now. So we've got 5, 6, 11. Right, so there's 11 in a row. So it's 22, 26 there. So 11, 17, 20, 25, 27. 27 bad, 26 good. Okay. I reckon by the end we will have way more in good than we will have in bad. I think there was just a lot of bad ones early on. Guardian Golem. This one's bad. This one's quite bad. But, right, okay. No. Let me explain. I wish that there were more Guardian Golems other than in Limgrave. Because I get it, right? They fell down from the sky, right? They fell down from Farum Azula. But there's none in Farum Azula. Why? It doesn't make sense. Like, they're among all the ruins of, like, crumbling Farum Azula, but they're not found in Farum Azula. It's so weird. There's none up there. The best thing that this has going for it is that it has some environmental storytelling in the fact that there is a big hole in the ceiling indicating where the golem fell in. That's like the best bit about it, to be perfectly honest. There's one in Lanedale as well. Why is there none in Farum Azula? Like, it's like this, they set it up. They set the golems up as like, these things are not meant to be here. They're not meant to be in Limgrave. That's why they're like always lying down when you find them, other than in Stormvale. And then they never like expanded on it. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. D. Because I still like fighting them. They're quite fun to fight. Because you can just stagger them. Patches! Patches! He's good. He's got to be like a B or an A. He's B, because you don't really fight him, to be honest. And he's just an NPC at the end of the day. He's quite fun. I like that he has an attack that no one else in the entire game has. He has that, like, breath attack, which does nothing other than lower your attack, or lower your defense. I don't know which one it does. But I don't know. I like his introduction as well. It makes sense. It completely makes sense as his character. I remember I was so chuffed when I saw him in game. And I was like, oh, they've put him in. That's so good. Yeah, that was great. Patches is glorious. What is bald head? Pat it. And I like that he still has like a trickster nature. Like, even after you beat him once, he's like, he sets up that chest and he's like, it's for a special customer, but they could take a long time to come around. and it's really valuable, and it's a trap, and it's always a trap, and he still is pushing you off ledges that you shouldn't survive if he didn't push you off them. Oh, he's good. I love Patches. He's definitely one of the best NPCs they've ever made. He's definitely one of the funniest NPCs that they've ever made. The guy who plays him, like voices him, must have a blast. Like voicing him. Ancient Hero of Zamor. Okay. I like these. They're aesthetically pleasing. I dislike them less than I used to. I used to think they were kind of annoying to fight, but I recently fought one and they're a lot more manageable. However, I dislike the fight. I dislike the fact that they eventually just become like regular enemies, because the regular enemy versions of them are so hard to deal with still. Like I remember just sneaking around the ruins that they're in because they're so difficult. And I also think it's kind of a cop-out to have one in the hero's grave. Like, I get it. They're an ancient hero of Zamor. But I feel like Zamor should have been built up to be this, like, obviously like a ruined civilization. But it should just be more, it should be more than just ruins. It should be, like, more than just ruins that look like the rest of the ruins in the game. It should be ruins that look like, whoa, this was a civilization that, like, hated the fire giants to the point where they, like, teamed up with Godfrey to take them down. Like, these guys were formidable. Look at their ruined kingdom. But they're not. They're just in ruins. They're just in, like, regular, looks like a church ruins. So, you know, missed opportunity there, in my opinion. Where do I put them in C? I don't think I've put anything in C in ages. Yeah. C is quite average. C is quite adequate in my opinion. Not average. It's obviously average. How many more do we have left? 28, 32, 36. We've got 36 left. Nearly there. Nearly there. It's took a lot longer than I thought it would, as I've already said. Gideon Offner, the all-knowing. What an annoyance. Like, he's cool, I get it. He's cool that he is an NPC and he knows all these different spells. I like him in that regard. And I don't think his spam is that annoying. I think it's manageable. I fought this guy with just a bow and arrow in a challenge run that I'm still in the process of doing. And once I could get his timing down for the Comet Azure, that was like literally the only time I could cancel his attacks. He was more annoying than Malekith to fight with the bow and arrow. But I still think he's cool, because he's kind of an expected boss. Like, he gives evil vibes in general, and he is quite malicious and hostile if you pay attention to, like, especially the village of the Albinaurics and how Latenna talks about him. But yeah, I don't dislike him. I think he's just a C tier. I don't think I could dislike him. Although it is kind of annoying that he weakens magic, and magic's one of the best ways to deal with him from afar. Okay, Fell Twins. This is such a weird fight. I don't get it. Cause okay, how do I talk about this? I don't like fighting the Omen in general, because I find them quite difficult. But why are they just in a void? Why couldn't they just fight on that bridge? Where does that void take place? Why do the Fell Twins teleport you to the void? To this just black, empty nothingness? I don't get it. It's an E-tier boss. I don't understand. If they were going to put something in a void or, like, whatever, they could have done way better than just the Fell Twins. regular bosses, regular enemies that you've already fought before getting to them, and just sort of act as an obstacle on the way to Morgoth's tower. Okay. Erdtree Burial Watchdog. He's my guy. He goes in B. I love them. I love them so much. Just their like weird little faces and stuff. All their attacks are fun. I like them. I recently played the Convergence mod. Not the Convergence mod. I'm still playing that one. The Reforged mod of Elden Ring. And the first one, I've not fought the rest of them, but the first one that you find, like in the cave in Limgrave that's really close to the start, he buffs his sword with Madness Fire. That's cool. I know that's obviously not like baseline Elden Ring, but it was cool regardless. And I like that they're just basically like elemental versions of each other. I do quite like that there's like a lightning one, a magic one, a fire one, and is there a frost one? I feel like there might be a frost one. Yeah, I like them. They're fun. They look cool. Oh no, I think there's just one with like a bunch of imps. I don't like that one. I hate dealing with the little imps. Leonine Misbegotten. Less cool than the Misbegotten Crusader. Still a cool fight. I think it's a missed opportunity. Wait. I need to Google something. I'm gonna Google something on a different tab. If my computer will let me. I need to look at the Leonine Misbegotten because I've not fought it in God knows how long. Leonine Misbegotten. I need to check something before I make this judgment because I might be wrong on this. No, he doesn't. I think he would be so much cooler if he actually used the grafted blade greatsword that he stole. Why is he not using it? Why is he just like he could have some interesting attacks with that, but he's just a regular Misbegotten warrior at the end of the day, to be perfectly honest. So he goes in C because they're quite satisfying to fight. You can stagger them and such. Other than that, they're not great, I guess. Now, here's a good one. Loretta, Knight of the Haligtree. This is a fun fight. I love Loretta. It's such a good magic fight as well. Horse magic, that's cool. I love horse magic. She's like at the top of A tier. Just the design, all the colors, so cool. And that big like curved arena is really nice. And her lore's quite interesting, to be perfectly honest. It's weird that she's not a remembrance boss. I think she would suit being a remembrance boss. She's an achievement boss, but not a remembrance. It would suit if she was. Magma Worm Makar. I really like Magma Worm Makar. He's got an interesting arena. He is more interesting than Theodorix by a long shot, even though he is exactly the same pretty much. He's more interesting than the regular Magma Worm, and so therefore he goes in B. Makar is just one of those fights where I was like, I don't think I'd encountered a Magma Worm up until that point, and I was just like blown away at like how cool it looked. And then when he stood up and I was like, whoa, he's towering over me. That was good. That was a good moment. Spirit Collar Snail Crucible. Oh, because there's the Godskin one. I forgot. Okay, Spirit Collar Snail Crucible. I think is kind of fun, right? Because you're confronted with this Crucible Knight that is really difficult, to be perfectly honest. And then I think if you kill him, he actually respawns, and he will continue respawning until a second one appears. I think that's the case. I don't know what happens after you kill them two. But obviously you're not meant to fight them. You're meant to just seek out that like the light source, which is the snail disguising itself. And becoming spirit, I guess. Yeah. I like the concept of the snail. I especially like it in that cave where there's a bunch of them, the Godskin cave, and they like pretty much every enemy is summoned by those snails. That's an interesting one. I think that I will put it in C because you can bypass the main challenge of the um of the boss if you just know what you're looking for and just go for them. Um, but the main challenge of the boss is not to fight. Like the main challenge is not meant to be fought. You're meant to look for this. Unlike in the Godskin one when you can't do that. Okay. Ooh, I'm really tired. This has been going for an hour and 55. Woo! Let's hear it for 2 hours. Regal Ancestor Spirit. Where did I put the first one? Ancestor Spirit. It's got to be an A tier. Like, visually, really cool. Got the same soundtrack as Ancestor Spirit, which is really good. Visually, it's way better than the Ancestor Spirit because it uses, like, glowy attacks and stuff. And it has the heal attack, and it can, like, come up and spawn out of one of the glowing animals that's in its arena, and then it takes on the traits and the properties of that animal, and it gets different attacks based on that animal. And it's a really fun fight, I think. Yeah, I really like that fight. Again, the remembrance items could be better. Could be better. But still pretty cool. I'm going to actually start organizing A tier, and I will organize S tier when I get some S tiers. Okay. Okay. Is Loretta better than the Knight of the Halig Tree? Wait, no. Is Loretta better than the Erdtree? Yes. Is Erdtree better than Draconic? Yes. No, even, sorry. Is Erdtree better than Roundtable Knight? No. Erdtree better than Deathrite Bird? No. Well, yes, even. Deathrite Bird better than Mimic? No. Better than Moog? No. Better than Estelle? No. Better than Knight's Cavalry? No. Better than... yeah. No. Okay. He goes at the bottom. Full-grown Falling Star Beast is at the bottom. Commander Nile I would probably put... maybe on par? No, I'll put Deathrite Bird there. Mimic tier... because at the end of the day, it's just a Mimic. Commander Nile's annoying enough where he could be towards the lower end. Ancient Dragon Lanciax is cooler than Knight's Cavalry. Cooler than that. Not cooler than that, but he's cooler than those. Yeah, I'll put that there. I do just love Roundtable Knight Bike. I don't know why. He's just so cool to me. Moog is cooler though. Actually, no. Original Moog is not. Sewer Moog is not. Lanciax is not. Estelle, yeah. Yeah, I think this is very correct for how I'm tiering A tier. Royal Revenant. No. I hate that it is in such a small area. That's so annoying. You know? That's my feelings towards the Royal Revenant. And I hate them as general enemies. They scare me to death. Healing is basically the best way to kill them. As in, like, heal incants. And I don't think the item behind it is worth it. I think it's the Frozen Needle. Not worth it as a sword. Very just average weapon. But Royal Revenant itself is a scary, not fun boss. Even though it has such low health, still really, really scary. Dragonkin Soldier of Noxtella, I already know where I'm putting this, is A tier, and I'm putting it where? It's better than Falling Star Beast, it's better than Regal Ancestor, it's better than Deathrite Bird, it's better than Mimic tier, it's better than Nile and Knight's Cavalry, it's better than Erdtree, better than Estelle. I think it goes there. I absolutely love this fight. I wish this was the final one that you fought, and it wasn't optional. I wish this was like a forced fight, because it has all the cool aspects of the Dragonkin soldier, but then it gets those ice lightning attacks, and it does like the big, like almost like wrestling move dives. It's so cool, and the way that it just like falls out of the sky, it just like falls from the ceiling. It's such a cool fight. I'm a big fan of that. All right, you'll have to excuse me. I'm gonna pause for a second. Do it. Okay, I am back. And who are we on now? Beast of Faramazula. This is one of the few becomes an enemy later bosses where I think that it is still pretty cool as a boss. The fact that it is so early and then it doesn't become like you find one of these in Limgrave and then there's a duo boss version of it in Caelid. The fact that it doesn't become a regular enemy up until so late makes it cooler in my opinion. Still not amazing as a boss because it is quite weak, but as a general becomes an enemy later boss, very good. Amongst those, I don't think there's many that top it. Which top it? I mean, Omen Killer, Grafted Scion. I guess Erdtree Burial Watchdog is actually the only one that tops it. But yeah, okay, Crucible Knight, just singular Crucible Knight on its own. I love fighting Crucible Knights. I think they're so cool. And I think they're going to go in A. No matter like which one I fight, I always find it fun. And who will I pick? Who will I pick? I don't actually know. No, not who will I pick. Who goes past it? I find them more fun than these. I probably find them more fun than most of these. There's something so satisfying once I got into the rhythm of fighting the Crucible Knight when I was doing it, the one in the Ever Jail, that I actually think it's more fun than them. I think it goes there. It's going to take a lot to beat these ones, but I think some of these will. So some of these definitely will, easily. Anyway. Yeah. Where is it? Crucible Knight. Very cool. Love the lore. I was so intrigued when I think it was there was like a tweet or something before the game even came out saying that these were like Godfrey's soldiers and there was 16 of them. Oh, and there was Ordovis's greatsword in the trial version. What was it called? The beta. What was it called? When they were like testing the multiplayer and seeing how people liked it and stuff in November 2021. This was in the back of a coffin, and I was so intrigued the fact like that it was like Ordovis was like the leader of the Crucible Knights, and there was 16 and they were like these great warriors, and I don't know, they're so cool. Like all the like special attacks they can do and stuff. The tail is one of my favorites, and I was so chuffed when you could use that. Anyway, Demi-Human Chief Duo. Not one of the worst duo bosses in the entire game. Just kind of low. Got a cool dungeon, but I'm not basing it off that. A little bit annoying to fight just for how quick they are sometimes. Like, their attacks are very, very fast a lot of the time. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a pretty good position for it. Especially as a duo fight, because you don't have to do it as a duo fight if you're careful. If you're quiet enough, you can avoid aggroing the other one. I also realized when I paused, you can see like my terrible hairline on this side of my head because of where my camera is. So I've tried to cover it up. I just thought that was quite funny. You can see how terrible and receding my hairline is at the ripe old age of 20. I'm not even 21 yet. Okay, worm face. Worm face is interesting because I think it is a cool boss because it's quite imposing and sort of silently threatening. The fact that you can just sneak around it and it won't notice you for the most part, unless you obviously go in front of it. But like, it's just sort of against this minor Erd tree, and it's one of these instead of an Erd tree avatar. It's quite weird, really. I'm gonna put it in C, right? Because the worm face in general are really, really scary to me. Like the noises they make, they freak me out, and especially how they look and how like they're covered in this veil. They remind me. I've only just made this connection, but they remind me of the veil in Doctor Who, in Heaven Sent, which is my favorite episode ever. Fun fact about me. But yeah, I think the only thing that stops it from being a B is that there is a duplicate of it in Farum Azula, which I don't fully understand why they're in Farum Azula. I wish there was some explanation as to why, because as far as I was aware, that like forest in Altus is like the only concentration of them, and it's really close to the fact that Godwyn is buried underneath it. I think that's where Godwyn is buried. Godwyn's buried like directly underneath that forest. Yeah, that whole area is crazy. I find it so tense to go through. Like, it's not rewarding at all. There's barely anything in it, but it's so just tense to go through, in my opinion. I think they made it tenser, right? Because in one of the trailers, they showed people going through it, and they sneak through it. They do not aggro those things. So I was terrified too. Okay, ulcerated tree spirit. This might get me a lot of hate, but I think this is a good boss when it's not in a tiny room. When these are outside, they're quite a fun fight. Oh, this is just the regular one. The putrid one isn't on here. Huh. Okay. Putrid ones take it down a tier. But I'm going to put the ulcerated tree spirit in B, to be perfectly honest. I have very little against these bosses. I find them quite fun to fight, quite easy to fight. The only thing that is annoying is when they're in a small room, they can just be such a pain. Other than that, I think the fact that I think what makes them cooler, in my opinion, is the fact that they're probably based off very, very early concept art for Dark Souls 3, where you see these, like, shadowy, worm-like serpent shapes in the background as the character's looking out. And I think those directly inspired these, which is quite cool. So yeah, B tier. I find them fun to fight. Perfumatricia and the Misbegotten Warrior. I hated this. I physically remember hating this fight so hard when I fought it. It was like one of the only fights that I ended up using a summon for. Lutel. I remember I used Lutel for it, and Lutel was basically useless. But it worked out in the end. I just could not fight the two of them, and I don't know why. I found it so hard to manage them. And I think it's because I kept trying to rush the Perfumer so that she would stop buffing the warrior and making him take no damage for a hit. Because I could barely get any friggin' hits in anyway with the warrior, because I was so rubbish at fighting them at the time. But yeah, I remember hating this fight. Now I just think it's kind of a weird duo fight, so I'm going to put it in D. No, I'm actually going to put it in E, because the rest of these don't deserve to be with this. Let's have another check. So we've got 11, 15, 26, 34. Okay, 34 there. 11, 19, 30, 32. So we're now on 36 good, 30 bad. Okay. And 25? 20, no, 27? 27 average. Scaly Misbegotten. Another one for the bad. I think this is such a silly boss. Like, it's just a regular enemy that is in the areas where you're already like exploring. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. It's an E. And it's not even like a fun enemy to fight either. It's like it's really easy to stagger. It's really easy to, although its attacks are weirdly delayed, which makes it less fun, actually. But oh well. We're about to get on to the good, like the really cool bosses now, the demigods and whatnot. Oh God. Spirit Caller, Snail, Godskin. I think I actually like this one more than the regular Spirit Caller Snail. Because I remember going in, fighting that Godskin Apostle that first summoned and being so relieved. And then just that sudden realization when I was like, it's not giving me like the boss defeated message. And then the fucking noble spawns in. Oh my God, that was so terrifying. And then after that, the snail spawns in. Oh, I'm still gonna give it a C, but I give it like a high C because I don't know. It just made me feel like so scared for my life when it spawned in. Oh God. When I was waiting for the noble to spawn in. God. Right. Godric Zagrafted is the first S tier. He is so good. I wish he wasn't the first demigod, but it makes sense lore-wise why he is the first demigod, because he's so weak and so pathetic. But he's not weak, and he's not pathetic when you fight him. He's kind of hard the first time you ever fight him. He's a pain to get used to. And he's visually so intimidating. And his theme is one of my favorites in the entire game, definitely. God. Wait. Is that him? No, that's oh my God, I'm so bad. That's Ludwig. That's Ludwig. I get those two mixed up so much. Or is it? I honestly couldn't tell you. I get those two soundtracks mixed up so much. That should tell you how good Godric's soundtrack is. And like, he's so pathetic, but he has like one of the best lines in the entire thing where he goes, Forefathers one and all, bear witness. That bear witness is so good. And he has the dragon head grafted onto him, like he just imbues that with life, and he uses that because he's so desperate. Oh, it's so good. God, Godric is like one of my favorite bosses in the entire game, and it's such a shame that he's so early because it's over so fast. God. Right, Dragon Lord Placidusax. Now, visually, he is the second best dragon in the game. Visually, he is the third best dragon ever, in my opinion. I find the fact that he has two heads outrageously cool. His red lightning, also outrageously cool. His arena is great. The fact that you have to like go beyond this storm, like out of time, to find him, to find the Dragon Lord. Great. Do I put him in A or do I put him in S? This is so hard. There is only 16 left after him. I'm going to put it in S, but there's a potential that it moves down. Because I'm not 100% convinced. Godskin Noble. As goofy as this fight is, he's an A tier, and he's like a good A tier as well. I think he's like here, in my opinion. Godskin Noble, as in the one that you fight in Volcano Manor, is a really fun fight in my opinion. Because the pillars work to keep him away from rolling into you, and the fact that he spawns in. I mean, they always spawn in like that, but they spawn in with a like black flame, and it's all like the red motifs and stuff. And what a theme! What a theme! Their theme is my favorite in the entire game. The Godskin theme is so good. Oh, it gives me goosebumps to listen to. It is such a good theme. Yeah, I think that is right though. I don't think it's quite an S tier, but it's a really fun fight. Even with the roll, still a really fun fight. Now, Rykard is the best gimmick fight in the entire series. He goes above Placidus Axe, but less than Godric. He's the best gimmick fight in the entire series because he has two phases that are notably different, and the gimmick doesn't just trivialize him. Like, the actual weapon that you use is powerful against him, but it's still, like, hard to fight him. You can stagger him, sure, with the weapon arts, but the weapon arts take ages. I remember, like, when he phase transitioned for the first time, and his face, like, turns around. Oh my god, I was so shocked. I had no idea that was the case. Like, I was aware that, like, Rykard had fed himself to this serpent, but I just thought, like, that was it. Like, I thought maybe the serpent would, like, power up or something. But then he gets the sword and stuff. That is so cool. Like, he draws that, like, out of the snake's mouth. That is so good. Yeah, what a boss. What an amazing gimmick boss. He puts gimmick bosses like Yom to shame. Anyway, Margit. Margit the Fell Omen. Now, he's a good boss. He's a good boss. I cannot deny this. I think he should thematically go next to Moog the Omen. I still always find him so hard to fight for some reason. I don't know why. Because I think it's just I'm not used to how much he delays stuff. I mean, I still struggle with it. Yeah. He is definitely interesting. I do definitely prefer Morgott. Morgott is so good. I wish Morgott had more health. That's the thing. I'll get onto that in a minute. Yeah, but Margit rightfully deserves an A tier. I think he is such a cool, like, foe to sort of humble you right at the start. He's like the Tree Sentinel, essentially. He is the instead of, like, there is another way to approach this fight lesson, like the Tree Sentinel tells you. Like, the Tree Sentinel is like saying, look, the Torrent is good for this fight. Like, if you do this fight with Torrent, it will be substantially easier. Margit is saying, this area is off limits. Go and explore until you are ready for this area. Or keep bashing your head into this area and then struggle with the area afterwards. You know, it's all about lessons and stuff. Yeah, A tier. We have 13 bad boys left. Godskin Apostle, I'm actually going to say, is better than Vike and Margit. I really enjoy fighting Godskin... Oops, sorry. I really enjoy fighting the Godskin Apostles. How long are we on now? Oh my god, 2 hours 20. This is a long video. I really enjoy fighting the Godskin Apostles, especially in the Windmill Village. The Windmill Village is one of the coolest ones. he's all right down in the Caleb Tower basement. Like that was quite a surprise, and that guy is quite strong, to be honest. But the one in the Windmill Village like really shocked me. That he's just out there, and he was always so cool in my head because he was one of the earliest concept arts that they showed off. I think he was like revealed shortly after the game itself was revealed, not just the gameplay, the game itself. So I really like the Godskins because I had the Godskin Apostle in particular because I had so long to sort of like imagine what the fight would be like with this strange thing, and like it's such a cool design for a boss. And the lore behind them, oh, I hope they expand on the Godskin like Glowmide Queen lore in the DLC. I can't wait. God, I'm so excited for that friggin' DLC. There's been not one peep of information since it was goddamn announced in February. But you know, that was how Elden Ring was. There was not a peep of goddamn information for 2 years, other than leaks. Yeah, yeah. Godskin Apostle, really good. Renala of the Full Moon. Ooh, this is a hard one. Because Phase 1 is fine. It's quite interesting. The fact that she barely fights back. And then it turns out that in Phase 2, it's not even her that you really fight. It's Rani projecting herself. And making this sort of like defense spirit version of Renala. I think Renala is definitely an A tier. Let's start there. She's better than all of these, simply for a second phase. I love that she can summon things in. I think that's one of the coolest things about her. I think she might go there, actually. She's not an amazing boss, even in a second phase. She has some cool spells, especially a moon spell I find quite cool. And her Comet Azure usage is good. And I like that she can summon things in, as I already said. Sorry, I'm getting very sleep deprived. But I don't think she's quite on par with the other demigods, and I think that is for a reason. She doesn't even use her Great Rune to its full effect, really. So yeah. Yeah, I think A tier, mid A tier is very respectable for Renala. Beast Clergyman Malekith, instant S tier. Let's start there. He's better than Placido Sax, definitely. And I think he's better than Rykard. He's just not quite good enough to be better than Godric. But I remember when I first fought Malekith, I thought, wow, that was such a ball ache of a fight. But after refighting him a few times, he is so fun. Like, even if you don't use the Blasphemous Claw to block some of his attacks, which I've never actually done, so I don't even know how easy he could be, but just how satisfying some of his moves look, and all the colors and the arena, and how fluid he is. God, he's such a good fight, and his soundtrack is surprisingly good as well. I think I underappreciated it for a long time. It's surprisingly good. Okay, Malenia. Malady? No. We avoid that. Okay, Malenia is an S tier. She's better than Placido Sax. She's better than Rykard, but she's not better than these guys. Malenia is definitely, without a doubt, the hardest boss in this game. I don't think she's the hardest boss ever, because I've beaten her, unlike a certain Bloodborne DLC boss who will go unnamed. But I still want to beat her without a summon. I want to beat her without using one of the Spirit Ashes. Because using Tish is really helpful, because Tish has the chance to do percentage-based damage. But I wanna prove that I am like I'm worthy. I'm worthy enough to beat Malenia by myself. But, like, visually, she's insane. Attack-wise, she's insane. The healing I thought was really cheap at first, but I actually don't mind it. it the aim is less to like be annoyed at the fact that she heals. The aim is more you need to just avoid getting hit, because the healing that she does is not the issue. The damage that she does is the issue. The only thing I still am not keen on is waterfowl dance. For obvious reasons. I've still never got good at dodging it properly, but I've seen a lot more ways to cope with it now than when I had originally fought her. I can't believe that when I fought her, it's almost a year ago, I think, because I was doing my exams. I was just about to do my exams, and then I got to her, and she became this roadblock that I couldn't get past. But now I've done my exams for this year, but I did them earlier. So it would be right around this time that I did start fighting Melania. Yeah. Yeah. I think that she is a really, really good boss, but these two just take the higher spot for me. Fire Giant. Unlike some people, I actually don't hate this boss. I actually think it's a really good boss. Especially in the first phase. I really like it in the first phase. The second phase is kind of annoying, even though it looks way cooler. Another usage of the word cool. Take a shot every time I say the word cool. I think he's definitely cooler than Renala, to be perfectly honest. I think he's just cooler than Renala, personally. I don't know. I remember the first time I ever saw him, like, outside of his arena, my brain didn't even click, like, oh, this is going to be a boss. I was just like, oh, that's a big guy. Like, my brain didn't even go, oh, he's going to be an NPC. Maybe it did. Maybe I said that. But I was surprised that he was a boss for some reason. And he's cool. He's a cool giant. He makes the trolls look tiny. And I like that. The only thing I hate is his cutscene. His cutscene's awful. That like leg snap will stay with me until I die. But yeah, I think he's a really cool fight, especially for his like weird wrestling moves that he pulls out at some points. The only attack that I'm not keen on is the one where he sprays fire out of like his chest mouth, because it's kind of hard to dodge if you're in a bad position. You can't really roll through it at all. Other than that, good boss. A tier. Godfrey 1, the first Elden Lord, as in the Spirit Godfrey. Spirit Godfrey is still an S tier, to be perfectly honest. I think he doesn't beat... Oh, wait, okay, no. If he is an S tier, Loretta is an S tier. So I'm giving Loretta an S tier. And I'm going to put Godfrey here. Whoa, look, all the spirits are together. Father, Son, and Son. Where's Godwin's boss battle? Boss battle? Boss battle. Oh my god, it's 20 past 2. I shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't be this bad. Yeah, Godfrey Spirit is cool. I like that he has similar attacks to the Crucible Knights in that he can like do the spikes out the ground and stuff. He's a very satisfying fight, but he doesn't have the same impact that it has the second time you fight him. But I knew that there was gonna be another fight with Godfrey, even though I had no idea about the Horaloo twist up until I first saw it. I knew that there must be a fight with Godfrey, because the voice actor even was like, oh, I'm so excited to talk as Godfrey in Elden Ring. Like, that was way before the game even released. I'm so excited that I was cast as Godfrey. But then Godfrey the Spirit never speaks. So it was either going to be in a cutscene that he spoke, or he was going to be a fight. Or he was going to be an NPC, I guess. But it would be weird that they introduce an NPC really, really late on. having never seen them before. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's right. Godskin Duo. Again, I don't hate this boss. It's definitely low A tier because I don't enjoy it nearly as much as the Godskins separately. Is it better than this? Yes. Is it better than this? Yes. Is it better than this? Yes. Is it better than this? Yeah. I think it stops being better than this here-ish. Godskin Duo is a fine fight. I think it's fun. People comparing it to like Ornstein and Smo are incorrect though, because obviously like Ornstein and Smo have the sort of, even though they're similar in the fact that one is little and one is large, they're both fast as hell, and they both have second phases and kind of second phases at the same time, unlike Ornstein and Smo. So yeah, I don't hate the Godskin Duo, but I like Godskin Noble and Godskin Apostle enough separately to ramp up Godskin Duo. And you know, it wasn't that hard of a fight with magic. It's quite an acceptable fight with magic. Yeah, I think that's the good way to put it. Moog, Lord of Blood. Oh, that really hurt my throat doing that voice. Moog, Lord of Blood is an absolute S tier. I think I enjoy him more than Melania, to be perfectly honest. And I don't know about more than these two, though. I don't know, it's so hard. Mm-mm. No, I do. I enjoy him more than Malika. Just for his sheer stage presence, if nothing else. The fact that he just, like, he's in some blood. Like, he just emerges from blood for some reason. And his, like, blood flames are so cool. He's a weirdo. He's an absolute weirdo and a degenerate. But, man, his transition's one of the coolest. Like, Nihil, great. I mean, it kind of restricts you to having to use that, like, tear in your flask. But you can do without it. It doesn't... It's not an instant kill if you don't have it. It's work roundable. I just wasn't good enough to work round it. Lord of Blood has such, like, a cool title. Like, obviously he's just an edgelord. But yeah, really cool fight. That second phase where he's just essentially becomes Satan. Insane. Insanely good. Lich Dragon Fortisax. Okay. There he is. Immediate S tier. And I think this is going to shock us to where I put it. Right at the top of S tier. I don't know if it's my favourite fight, because we've still got these four. But it is one of, if not my favourite fights. Like, I hate that you have to fight fierce champions to get there. That's the only annoying bit, right? And there's sort of a quest line that you've got to do the fight. But, oh my god, he is visually the coolest dragon. It goes, in the entire Soul series, in terms of visually cool dragons, Fortisax, Medea, Placidusax. There you go. Like, the red and black work so well. It's got such good lore. It's got an amazing OST. I cannot get over how good the OST is. And I can't believe I didn't notice the first time I heard it. Like, it is so good. Like, that transition when it goes from being sort of like, this is like kind of monstrous, to this is a real, like, there's a bug on my screen. And it just vanished immediately as I said that. It heard me call it a bug, and it was like, whoa, no, I'm not. I'm out there. Oh, I can see him again. Go away. Go away. That transition where it goes from being, this is just a dragon. Like, this is a monstrous dragon. This is a corrupted dragon, as it is. To, this is like a hero sort of theme. Like it becomes really epic and heroic almost. God, I love that theme. It's so good. And even the fact that there is that like annoying lightning effect when you go under him is not enough to dissuade me from putting him in the top spot. I really, really like this fight. I wish he had more health. Oh, he's so cool. His attacks are amazing as well. Like when he goes up into the air and he does that big like red lightning scythe attack. And this that you can see him doing here where it's like his stakes going into the ground. Oh, I love Fortisax. One of, if not my favorite bosses. Gotta be. Ah, God. Okay, 4 left. At the very quick time of 2.5 hours. Hoaraloo Godfrey. Hoaraloo Godfrey. Right. S tier. I'm aware immediately that it's going to be an S tier. I feel like I'm not allowed to have more than 1 row of S tiers, so Loretta might get bumped down. Hoaraloo is better than Placidusax. Is better than Rykard, but I don't think he's better than Melania in my opinion. He is really, really cool. Especially, I think his first phase is cooler to me for some reason. I'm not sure why. I think I just like the sort of noble kingly vibe that he's got going on, and then when he goes into sort of chaotic Hoaraloo mode is kind of when I'm not as keen on him, but I still find him outstanding as like a fight. I love his ground stomps. Those are really cool. Like the arena wide ground stomps and the fact that he can like tear open the earth and stuff. And the wrestling moves in the second phase are really, really good. I think his theme is surprisingly good as well. I think I remember being shocked the second time I heard it. I was like, whoa, this is actually really good. I remember that transition where it goes like dun 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 dun, where it transitions from Godfrey to Hoaraloo. I wish, the only thing I wish was that Serosh got involved more. I wish Serosh like attacked during the Godfrey phase, like just like a rare attack. I don't know. I hope there is some expansion on the Badlands and the fact that Hoaraloo is chieftain of them in the DLC. I don't know how they would do that, considering we barely know anything about the DLC, but it seems to be more Mikla focused. But I don't know, I'd like to know more about the Badlands and like where the Tarnished come from. Okay. This bug is still on my screen. Go away. Morgott the Omen King. Go away, man! Fuck off. I don't want to kill it. Go away. Where I put Morgott? Morgott the Omen King. He is definitely an S tier. I think Loretta's definitely going down. I think Placidusax will also have to go down, to be perfectly honest. No, okay. I think there's enough space, yeah, with those two. Okay. Because I'm already committed that these two will be in S tier. Morgott, the Omen King. Better than Rykard. Better than Godfrey. Better than Melania, I think. Not quite better than Malika. I think Morgott is just such a cool character in general. Like, his speech before the fight is so good. And the fact that you can talk to him after the fight where he's like, this is hopeless. Like, no one can take the throne. The Erdtree refuses. And, like, he's given his life to the Erdtree, but he's still never been recognized as its rightful protector and an Elden Lord in his own right. I don't know, I find him such a cool, tragic character. And then it's only when Godfrey finds him, after we've already started burning the Erdtree and stuff, that he, like, when Godfrey finds him, his soul goes back into the Erdtree and he's finally accepted by it. Although I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. You can argue day and night about that. But Morgott as a fight. Only thing I'm gonna say, wish he had more health. I wish it went on for longer. He's got so many cool attacks. He's so fluid and like graceful with all of his combos and such, and all like the holy things that he summons, all the like swords and his fucking big bunkin hammer is all great. I love Morgoth's fight. It's great, and the fact that you can get his sword is really cool. Oh, and the way he like crushes his cane and it like cracks all the way along it, and his sword is revealed inside. Really good. Really good. Really, really, really good. Radagon / Elden Beast. Okay. As a fight in general, as the whole fight from both Radagon and Elden Beast, I give them an S tier. And the S tier goes there. Okay? If I was just ranking the characters like on their own, the fights on their own, Radagon would go, okay, Radagon's better than Rykard, Radagon's better than Godfrey, Radagon's better than Mulaney, Radagon's better than Morgott and Malaketh and Moog. Radagon would go there, in my opinion. If I was ranking just Elden Beast, he would stay here. Oops. No, come on. Behave. Thank you. Okay. Elden Beast would stay here. I guess. Oh, no, he needs to go up. For the entire... No. I think this is deserved. Because the fact that you've got to fight both of them is a bit of a pain in the ass. Like, it is quite... Like, I think they could have made Radagon... have more health. And separated him. And made Elden Beast just his own boss. Like, as he is, basically. I don't think he needed any more health. But Radagon should have more health and be his own boss. Elden Beast can be his own boss, as he is. It's just kind of a pain having to fight them as they are. Even though the Radagon part of the fight is so amazingly good. The Elden Beast part of the fight is just... like, very good, in my opinion. It's S tier worthy, but it's not really, really good, like Radagon's bears. Whew, good lord, this has taken too long. 2 hours, 42 minutes. And now, Starscourge Radahn. Obviously, an immediate S tier. Look, he already knows that he's better than Placiduous Sax. And I didn't even mean to put him there. Right. Starscourge Radahn. Where to begin and where to end. What a cool fight. I mean, just the lead up to it is amazing. Like, the festival, all the atmosphere around that. The fact that it's all organized to be this heroic send-off to the best, to the strongest demigod in the Shattering. Like, what a cool character. Not only is he the strongest, but he is still somehow resisting the Scarlet Rot from who knows how long ago. I mean, so is Melania, but Melania's had help. And I guess Melania is better in a sense that she's coped with it better because she is still sane, and Radahn is clearly pretty insane. I'm just going to move him up steadily throughout this conversation. But not only, like, is he the strongest in terms of, like, willpower, I guess, to keep going, he's also the strongest. He can hold back the stars. And he still does it, even when he's, like, rotted away and just insane. There's still, like, must still be, like, a part of his mind that's like, I've got to do this. I've got to keep them back. And he's still he's still sane enough to recognize that I'm actually going to move Morgott down one. Yeah, he's still sane enough to recognize his horse, Leonard. He's sane enough to not just eat Leonard, where he eats the fallen bodies of his comrades and stuff. So clearly he's pretty bonkers, to say the least. And also, his attacks. His attacks are so cool. He's visually insane. Like, I like that he is just this bulky strength user, but he still uses magic, and his meteorite attack will still never get, like, not cool, in my opinion. So now, the ultimate, like, decision is coming down. Is he cooler than Moog? Yeah. Yeah. Just for, like, the setting alone, I think he is cooler than Moog. I think their fights are sort of on par, in my opinion. Might actually swap Placidusax and Loretta. I think Loretta deserves to be in this S tier. No. I think Placidusax does take it. Sorry, Loretta. You're the best of A tier, at least. Okay. Is Radahn a better fight than Godric? Oh, that's so hard. That is so difficult. Because I love Godric so much. But Radahn is, like, clearly a more difficult fight. But does more difficult make it better? Not necessarily. Therefore, he stays in the third top spot. So my top 10 in terms of bosses is Vortisax, Godric, Radahn, Moog, Malekith, Malenia. You really, when you really say it like that, Moog, Malekith, Malenia, you really get to... Sorry, Moog, Malekith, Malenia, Morgott. You really get to see how, like, one letter central it is. Anyway, Vortisax, Godric, Radahn, Moog, Malekith, Malenia, Morgott, Hoaraloo, Rykard, Radagon, and Elden Beast. I'm actually going to swap. I don't know what I just did, and I don't know how to go back to change it, but I think it was just one of these, so it doesn't matter on the order. I think I'm actually going to swap these two. I love Rykard, like, visually, he's insane. And mentally, he's also insane. I think I like him more than Godfrey. Oh, I've got to put Radagon higher. I love Radagon. He's such a good fight. I'm going to put him there. Okay, so that's my top 10. That is my top 10. Final word, my top 10. Lich Dragon Vortisax, Godric the Grafted, Starscourge Radahn, Moog Lord of Blood, Beast Clergyman / Malekith, Malenia, Blade of Mikola, Morgott the Omen King, Radagon and Elden Beast, God-Devouring Serpent / Rykard, Godfrey / Hoaraloo. If Radagon was his own fight in this list, which he should be in my opinion, because he's his own character, then he would be my third favourite. I think he still takes precedent over Radahn, personally. But Elden Beast would be my 10th favourite. Yeah, I think that's right. So that's it. That's it done. This is my tier list of all the bosses in Elden Ring in its entirety. Clearly, I just hate Kindred of Rot Duo. I can't believe... I'm going to be honest. I would have thought there was going to be more F tiers. Other than just Miranda and the Kindred of Rot Duo. I really thought there was going to be more. Does that mean I have little faith in this game? Not necessarily. Just maybe I remember disliking more of them, or being disappointed with more of them than I thought I was. Yeah, I think that's right. I'm gonna actually put Rune Bear down here, to be honest. No. I said no more changes. Rune Bear sucks, but he's not awful as a boss. I'm just basing it off memories of finding them in the wild. Yeah, that is my Elden Ring all boss fights tier list. Wow. That took so long. I'm so sorry this video is like nearly 3 hours long. Oh my god. Oh my god. And I'm so sorry you had to look at my receding hairline for the entire for nearly all of the video. Look at that, that's bad. Look at that. Whoa. Cover that up. It doesn't cover up. It never covers. Because my hair goes the other way. Yeah, that's good. That's a good look. Yeah, screw it, that'll do. Completely concealed. Wow. Great job, Ethan. Alright, well. Thank you very much for watching. If you have watched all of it. Why did you do that? But thanks. Thank you for doing that. It is now 20 to 3 a.m. Thank God I don't have to do anything tomorrow, really. I need to go to the shop. That is about it. Yeah. Tell me, what is your top 10 Elden Ring boss fights of all time? What are they? And why? Actually, just give an explanation as for why it's your top one. Tell me why your favorite is your favorite. You don't need to explain yourself for the rest. I'll get it. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy. I hope me getting a horse throat was worth it. And if you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. Why not? If you want more random content like this. Yeah. That's basically the long and short of it. If you want more content brought to you at 2 in the morning. Thank you, and I will see you next time. I'll probably do that again because I don't think that's how I end my videos usually. I'm sat in an armchair, and I will see you next time. Bye.